Welcome to 247 Real Talk. I'm your host, Julian Perry. It's a pleasure to be here with you once again for another episode and the final episode of 2024. It's been a strange week with, I usually record on Wednesdays, but yesterday was Christmas, so I'm recording today, Thursday, and this episode will air in a few hours. I hope all of you had a great Christmas, that you took my advice, that you enjoyed it with family and friends, that you put the differences aside. Those of you who had empty seats at your tables because of estranged family members due to the craziness of the political landscape and all that other nonsense, that you found a way to put it aside to reach out. And even if you reached out and you didn't get a response, at least you did the right thing to reach out and try to mend bridges. We must unite to move forward. So anyway, I'm going to just have a quick word with you. When I come back, I'll give you a quick update on my knee and my final thoughts for 2024. So sit back, relax, and I'll be right back. So I'm back, and as I said, this is a really good episode. I'll probably finally keep my word for all the times I say that it's a quick episode and I'm done, but this will be because it's the last episode of 2024. First of all, let me give you a quick update on my knee. I actually just came from physical therapy a short while ago because usually I have it 3 times a week. Thursday is one of them, but I usually record on Wednesdays. But since yesterday was Christmas, I'm recording tonight, Thursday, December 26th at approximately, it's now 8:31 p.m. I had a rough session tonight. The knee didn't bend as much as it did last time. It was a little stiff. I have to admit that in between physical therapy sessions, I usually stretch at home, keep the knee fluid and keep it stretched, but I didn't get to do that with Christmas and all those things. So, it felt a little bit like a setback, at least for me mentally, someone like myself who likes to push hard. But it's doing okay, and as we go into 2025, you'll get more updates about the knee, and, I'm putting in the work. So I'll get there, maybe slower than some others or faster than others, but I'll get there. So let's move on to my quick word to you as the last episode of 2024. Let me start by saying again how thankful and grateful I am to every single listener, every single one who has shared this podcast, every single one who has listened, every single one who has sent me messages, every single one who has subscribed, every single one who has joined, every single one who joined and left, every single one who's thinking of joining, every single one who has done something to make a difference as a result of some conversation I had during this year. I know that I promised to have more guests and I didn't, and that's partially by demand of listeners. I do have a queue of people in my mailbox, podcast at 247realtalk.net that have reached out to me asking to be a guest on the show. But I always also make sure that when I choose a guest or agree to a guest, that the content matter is in line with what we talk about and keeps not only the interest, but promotes the message and the goal, right? The mission. 2024 was a roller coaster for most of us. Financially, we dealt with inflation. I still believe that many of us are way better off than we would admit. In a political year and in elections and the landscape, those who are vying to take office try to paint this meek or this bleak picture of where we are financially, but I don't think so. For those of you who were convinced that somehow the Biden administration didn't do a whole lot for us, could they have done some things better? Absolutely. But I'm going to talk about that real quick. But they did a lot. And for those of you who believe the promises of the incoming administration, we will discuss it in 2025 because I'm going to tell you, tighten your seatbelts. All those promises that you heard and that you're jumping in glee for. A lot of people voted um, for a change in political ideology. A lot of people voted because of prejudice. A lot of people, not only race, but a lot of people voted against having a woman as president. Even people who I think will look back and probably be a little ashamed that they did that. But nevertheless, we still live in a country that is still tilted towards the male chauvinist side, right? We won't give a woman a shot at the title even now. And so, we have to absorb the pain of our own decisions. I think that I would have loved to have seen a woman, any woman who was capable enough, and the resume of Kamala Harris says she was, just because men have always been president and we like to promote how great of a country of change we are and progress, and yet we're not willing to cross certain thresholds. We've seen, and this is not in any specific order, but we've seen an amazing impact that President Biden made on student loans, and so many people better off financially because they don't have that debt on top of their shoulders. In the beginning, when he was dealing with it, I was really hard on him, and I was very happy to admit that I was too harsh, and to give him praise for pushing against a wall of Republicans. Yes, there were Republicans who pushed back against him, many of them who received PPP loans and had their millions of dollars in loans forgiven during COVID and turned around and wanted to punish you because they wanted to make sure that the wealth gap continues and the percentage of people who live below the poverty level does, so that they can look down on you. They can sit in their yachts and their fancy houses and their jets, and they can say, they're not like us, and try to differentiate, while you, who have worked so hard and do everything you can never be like them. We dealt with the most recent situation where the CEO of United Healthcare was gunned down, was murdered by someone making a statement for society of how dissatisfied we are with the healthcare system and how cruel healthcare industry is. That's the adjective I could find. You've heard my episode on that before, and I don't condone killing anyone. Yes, I do think a statement needed to be made. I just think that was not the way to do it. That one CEO, he is a part of a board of directors, right? And decisions are made by multiple people. Yes, they're made in a capitalist society. Yes, they're made for greed and profit. But one person, didn't walk around making decisions of United Healthcare. He had a family. He had young children. I don't think taking the life and making a statement in that way was the right way. There's a lot of people praising what happened, but if it was your family member, if you lost your father, your brother, your husband, your son, I don't think you would share the same sentiments. I think we have to show that we've evolved as human beings, and while protesting is good and while making a statement is good, that kind of violence simply takes us back to the era of the ape, right? Where we lack the intelligence and the ability to make our voices heard and make a decision and to make things change using the tools we do have, right? We never stop to think, for instance, when we elect presidential candidates, when we elect members of the House of Representatives and the Senate, that those choices can actually change what happens in the healthcare industry by who we elect. We forget all the pains and suffering financially, health-wise, everything when it comes to that. And we let race and hatred and hate speech and divisiveness support the aristocracy that we have in the political landscape in Washington, D.C., and we allow things that make no impact on our lives to impact our decisions as to how we vote. And we allow ourselves to be manipulated so that we break and destroy the first word in the name of our country, United States of America, united. Many of us are looking towards 2025 with fear. And I would sit here and tell you don't. First of all, if you look back at your lives, for all the years you've been alive, every time there's a change in administration, things change one way or the other. But many times these people don't know who we are, don't care who we are, and we survive it. We are survivors. If something changes, it doesn't impact our lives to this drastic and this fear that the media wants you to feel, that the manipulators want you to feel, that the whole world is going to come crashing down on you if you don't go to the poll and vote for one person or another. As a man who is very spiritual, deeply spiritual, I always tell you that this world has seen so many tragedies, and it's also seen so many victories. Nothing that happens is a surprise to our Creator, it's a surprise to God. When bad things happen, we want to question if there's a God. If you read the Bible and understand what the choices that God gives us as individuals, He never promised that if you have faith and believe in Him that your life will be void of persecution, of pain, of violence, of anger. But He did promise that you live your life for Him and in Him, understanding, praising, and being faithful to Him, that the ultimate goal that this journey represents would be your victory. And during this journey, I do believe that if you pray and you stick to prayer and you hold on to your faith in a steadfast manner, that you actually do see victory in this life. You do see many times when you overcome, when He protects you, when you're victorious in circumstances that you can't control, couldn't control, and when you feared the worst outcome, but you decided to choose God. Many of us will make resolutions for 2025, as we do every single year. I meet a lot of people who don't make resolutions anymore because we set these goals and then they feel like they never reach the goals. I actually believe in setting resolutions that are in line with where you want to go, but almost unreachable. Raise the ceiling. If you can accept that you might not reach the ceiling, but you will actually improve your life and the life of others by striving for those goals, then the purpose of resolutions is met, or the purpose of resolutions is met. But don't put a blindfold over your eyes as to where we are in life, as to our responsibility for our time and for those who come after us, as to our responsibility to being kind and human and to making a difference, making our voices heard. Our responsibility is to make every move we make to be something that unites, that brings love and peace and unification, not divisiveness. Our responsibility to not let politicians use us as puppets. Our responsibility to not let the words of a stranger rile us up so much that we destroy family, we destroy blood, we destroy those that we were born next to, we grew up with, who shaped our lives because of the words of a stranger who really is just looking and laughing at us because they were able to manipulate us and actually show how mindless we are, how much they could control our thoughts and our actions to the point that we destroy the very fabric of who we are and whose we are for another human being who is just as vulnerable as we are. Another human being who cannot guarantee that when the sun rises, that they will still be on this earth. Recognize that no matter how powerful a human being claims to be, they cannot control the day their eyes close, the day they leave this earth. Live your life, love your life. And to love your life, live it in a way that it supports love and kindness. It supports each other. It supports progress in the right way. It supports leaving an earth and a place where those who come after us can see the good that we did. It is never too late to start. I will always repeat this message year after year. Make a difference. If you do one thing right a year, it's better than doing nothing. So join me as we restart or we continue the quest of 247 Real Talk into 2025. Let's help each other. Let's use our voices and the power we have to unite to make the changes we need to let those know that we've elected, and if they don't listen, then they won't be there. Let's do all that we can to shake each other's hand, to love each other, to put aside race, the difference of race, gender, color of skin, texture of hair, choice of lifestyle. And let's understand that the one thing we have in common is we're all human. We're all vulnerable. We all have no control over the breaths we take and when they will stop and when they start. We have no control of when we go out of our homes each day, whether we're going to come home, make it home or not. Recognize that even though we may float along in life, living as if there's nothing out there that makes a difference. Understand how powerless we are, but for the power and the love of our Creator, whose ways are so much bigger than ours. Let's continue to pray for that peace that surpasses all understanding. Let us help each other to make a difference. If you haven't started yet, make 2025 the year when you do. Make your resolution something of difference in this world, in the lives of your loved ones and beyond, strangers. Let's pay attention to what's happening in the world and make sure that we speak up. Let's make sure that we don't cover our mouths and stifle our voices because someone looks different than we are. Someone is in a different wealth class than we are. The only thing we need to fear is fear itself. And the only one we need to fear is the one who created us. I wish you an amazing New Year's Eve celebration. I wish you an amazing, healthy, happy, prosperous, overcoming, united 2025. I wish you a year when your voices get heard in the right way and positive changes are made. I wish you clarity. I wish you a vision that surpasses anything you've had before. I wish you health, strength, peace, and love. And from my heart to yours, I humbly sit before you, thanking you so much for being a part of the 247 Real Talk podcast. And I sincerely look forward to what 2025 brings and what I can bring to you to be a part of a movement for change, a part of a movement of positive change that leaves a legacy and an impact that will be felt on this earth in a great way, in a good way, long after we're gone. Thanks again so much for being a part of this podcast. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your lives in 2024. 2025, here we come. Until the first episode of 2025, where we speak about new things, new beginnings. Remember, please be safe, look out for each other, take care of yourselves and each other.